On3 recently ranked all 14 Big 12 coaches best to worst, 1 through 14. I had a few issues with that list, so I decided to come up with one of my own. Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz. Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Pull up that chair and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we are ranking all 14 current Big 12 football coaches 1 through 14, best to worst. And this video is going to be a little different. I'm not going to sit here in this chair the whole time and just talk to you. I'm actually going to go to my whiteboard that I haven't used in quite some time, since really early on in this channel, and I'm going to utilize the whiteboard to rank these coaches 1 through 14. It's been a while since I've brought you guys a video from the whiteboard, but here we are as I rank all Big 12 football coaches 1 through 14. Here we go. Number 1 on my list,
Chris Klieman. That's right, the head coach of the Kansas State Wildcats.
As you will see as I do this video, my handwriting is absolutely atrocious, so just bear with me. Just thought this would be a little bit different, just a little bit different vibe here than what we normally get with me just sitting in a chair. But number 1, Chris Klieman brought K-State to their first 10-win season in a decade in 2022, plus won the Big 12 title over TCU. He has a 30-20 overall record since taking over at Kansas State in 2019. And before coming to Kansas State, he won 4 FCS national championships at North Dakota State. So, yes, we're looking at the overall body of work of these guys as coaches, not just what they've done in the Big 12, but overall throughout their career. Number 2 on my list,
Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Now, Gundy has taken a bit of a step back probably the last few years, but when you look at the overall body of work, I feel like this is where he deserves to be. On 3's list that I talked about in a live stream last week, they had him at number 4. I think he's much better than number 4. I saw a list about a year ago that had Mike Gundy as the 10th winningest coach of the past decade in all of FBS. That's pretty darn good if you ask me. His overall record at Oklahoma State is 156-75, and he's 11-6 in bowl games. He's just a picture of consistency as much. He's only had 1 losing season since taking over the program in 2005, and that was his very first year. Like I said, he is falling slightly. Last 5 years, he only has 1 double-digit win season. That was in 2021, when they were literally inches away from winning the Big 12 and potentially getting a spot into the college football playoff. And we all know they have had some turmoil there in the offseason, losing a lot of people to the transfer portal, and he said some somewhat outlandish things to the media, but hey, it's Mike Gundy. That's kind of what he's known for, right? But when you look at him as strictly a football coach, it's hard to get any better than Mike Gundy if you want to look at a consistently winning program. He hasn't won national championship. No, he's not been in the CFB, but he wins consistently year in, year out. So I have him at number 2 on my list of coaches in the Big 12 conference.
Number 3 on my list, coming fresh off an appearance in the college football playoff national championship game, Sonny Dykes from the TCU Horned Frogs.
Now, Sonny, on 3 had Sonny Dykes number 2 on their list, but I just feel like when you look at his overall body of work, he has yet to prove himself to be better than Mike Gundy, though he's really close. I feel like you have to put him here. He did play for a national championship last year, so he deserves to be high on the list. The only reason he is at number 2, like I said, is his overall body of work. And it is possible that he caught lightning in a bottle in 2022, but we will see over time just how good of a coach Sonny Dykes is. Now, he has coached for 13 years overall at the FBS level as a head coach. He's been at Louisiana Tech, Cal, SMU, and, of course, now TCU. He has an overall record of 84-65, which is a .564 winning percentage. His only 2 double-digit win seasons, though, in that entire time was last year when he won 13 games at TCU, and then in 2019, his 3rd year at the helm of SMU, he won 10 games, going 10-3 for the Mustangs. Were it not for his 4 years at Cal, Sonny Dykes might be number 2 on this list, maybe even number 1 on the list. His 4 years at Cal were not very good. In his defense, it is not easy to win at Cal, but he did coach there. They didn't have a good record, so therefore I was just unable to put him ahead of Mike Gundy on my list of Big 12 football coaches.
Number 4, Lance Leipold or Leipold. I don't know how you pronounce it. Kansas fans, let me know in the comments.
Lance, number 4 on my list. It's hard to argue that what he has done at Kansas is amazing. Yes, they only finished with 6 wins in 2022, but you have to remember, folks, they were literally the worst team in all of Power 5 and arguably even in all of FBS football when he took over the program in 2021. And oh, by the way, he took over that program just prior to the season starting in 2021. So he's just now getting to the 2-year mark of his career as coach again. Before coming to Kansas, he was at Buffalo where he won 2 MAC championships, which is hard to do at Buffalo. And before that, he won 6. That's right, folks. 6 national championships at Division III's Wisconsin Whitewater before coming to Buffalo. So he is a very, very good football coach. He's done very well in the transfer portal while at Kansas. Guys are not leaving the program. And then when they do need to replace guys, they're able to go out and get players that really help them and fill important roles on the team. So Lance Leipold, in my opinion, is the 4th best coach in the Big 12 Conference right now. As by the way, as I go through this list, if you have an issue with anybody I have ranked here, feel free to let me know in the comment section.
Number 5 on my list. Now, this is also where On 3 had him on their list, but that's Gus Malzahn from UCF. As a matter of fact, what you'll see if you compare my list
To the On 3 list, my next 3 are in the same order as theirs. It's the rest of my list is different. But Gus Malzahn, he's coached at Arkansas State. He was there for 1 year. He spent 8 years at Auburn in the SEC. And he's been at UCF for 2 years now, going into year 3 as they enter the Big 12 in 2023. He has a career record of 95-47, which is about a 67% winning percentage, which is very good. Won 10 games twice at Auburn and played for a national championship in 2013, which was his first year there as head coach after previously being the offensive coordinator. Now, you could argue that he hit lightning in a bottle with that Auburn team, which he took over from Gene Chizik, but he won 66% of his games in the SEC. That's not easy to do, folks. And he never had a losing season during his time at Auburn. He has won 9 games in back-to-back seasons at UCF as they head into the Big 12, like I said, in 2023.
Number 6 on my list, Kalani Sitake, BYU.
That's right. Another newbie to the Big 12. Sitake has a career record of 56-34 at BYU, which is a 62.2% winning percentage. Took over the program in 2016. He has 2 double-digit win seasons during his time there. Both of those were in 2020 and 2021, winning 11 and 10 games respectively. Remember, he's done this at a place that can be easy to recruit. They have stricter policies and rules that many other schools don't have because of their affiliation with the LDS Church. And many of their players take 2-year mission trips before coming to school. So these guys come in 2 years out of the game and kind of have to get, shake the rust off, so to speak. Now, the only advantage of that is they're basically grown men by the time they get there. Still, he does have some built-in disadvantages there, BYU. So he's done a marvelous job. And keep in mind, they were an independent. You could say that was actually an advantage or disadvantage. I don't really know. I'll leave that up to you. To me, it would make it harder to recruit, so I think that's a disadvantage. But in that time, he does have a lot of wins over Power 5 opponents during his time in Provo, including back in 2021. He was 5-0 against Pac-12 teams.
Number 7 on my list. All you Cyclone fans are going to like this one. You like that accent, Cyclone? Cyclone, I guess it's Cyclone fans, right? But it's Matt Campbell. I know Iowa State fans are probably going to crucify me for having him so low.
But nonetheless, that's where I have him. He's been a head coach for 12 years. 5 of those were at Toledo, and then he's been with the Cyclones for 7. He turned around a Cyclone program that was historically one of the worst in Power 5. He hasn't, so that's very admirable. However, he's never won more than 9 games in the season. So there again, has he really achieved as much as people think? He has an overall record of 81-57 as a head coach, and he's 46-42 during his time at Iowa State. His name pops up for nearly every head coaching vacancy in the country, almost every year, but that may have quieted down since the Cyclones underachieved in 2021, going only 7-6 with Breece Hall, Brock Purdy, and that group that were expected to compete for a Big 12 title. And then in 2022, after losing those guys, they took a drastic step back, going 4-8. I don't doubt that Campbell is a good coach, and it is hard to recruit to Iowa State. And he, like I said, he did take over a program that was nearly at the bottom of the country. But is he as good as many have made him out to be over the years? Has he been overhyped a little bit? Only time will tell. Let's see what he can do in 2023 with this Cyclone program. Now, here's really where my list starts to get a lot different. Number 8, I have Dana Holgorsen. I don't think Dana Holgorsen's a bad football coach. Is he an elite football coach? No, but he's not bad. On 3 actually had him at number 12. Dana has had his ups and downs as a coach. I get it. There's no debating that. But I don't think he's the third worst coach in the Big 12. And he definitely shouldn't be behind guys with very small bodies of work and have yet to prove themselves long-term as head coaches in this league, which on 3 put him behind some of those guys. Dana's overall record in his 12 years as a head coach at both West Virginia and Houston is 88-61, which is a .591 win percentage. Not terrible. He has won at least 10 games 3 times in those 12 years. His first year at WVU in 2011 when he took over for Bill Stewart. West Virginia won the Big East Championship, finished with over 10 wins, went on to just demolish Clemson in the Orange Bowl that year, 70-33. Then again, he won 10 games again at WVU in 2016, finishing third in the Big 12 that year. That was their best finish. And then at Houston in 2021, he won 12 games there. He has also only had 2 losing seasons in that 12. And one was his first year at Houston when he took over the program and was making wholesale changes. Dana has yet to win a conference championship. I get that. And that's probably why many people have him so far down on their coaching list and many don't like him. But there are many coaches who can say the same, including the guy I had right ahead of him, and Matt Campbell. Dana Holgorsen, to me, should not be ranked 12th on the list of best coaches in the Big 12. I think he's more around number 8. Let me know what you think.
Number 9 on my list, Dave Aranda, the coach for the Baylor Bears. Now, Dave Aranda has been at Baylor for 3 years,
compiling a record of 20-16. He won the Big 12 title in 2021 and led the Bears to a Sugar Bowl win over Ole Miss that year as well. However, that 2021 season is sandwiched between 2 losing seasons, which is why he isn't higher on my list. Baylor finished 2-7 in Aranda's first year, the COVID year in 2020, and then finished an underwhelming 6-7 this past season, 2022. So far, his success has been primarily with guys recruited by Matt Rule. Can he duplicate this success, or at least get close to that success that they saw in 2021 with his own recruits? That's what time will tell us. Now, you could say the same for Sonny Dykes, but he took over for Gary Patterson and was playing with Gary Patterson recruits. However, Dykes has a bigger body of work to go off of previously before he got to TCU than what Dave Aranda has. This is Dave Aranda's first head coaching gig. So therefore, I'm only putting him at number 9. Now, he has many opportunities to get higher on my rankings list, and I think he will. I do really think Dave Aranda's a good football coach. I just think based on the body of work he has today, he's number 9 on this list.
Number 10 on my list, Steve Sarkisian, coach of the Texas Longhorns.
He has been the head coach for a total of 9 years. He was at Washington for 5. He was at USC for, you could say, 1.5 because he left the team for personal reasons after 5 games in 2015. And he's coached 2 full seasons so far with the Longhorns, going into 2023, which will be his 3rd year at the helm of that program. His overall record as a head coach is 59-47, which is a .557 win percentage, so not all that great, really. Has only won 9 games in a season one time, and that was year 1 at USC in 2014, and has had 2 losing seasons in 9 years as a head coach. Steve Sarkisian, you could argue, especially since he's been at Texas, and you could even say this at USC, has done less with more than any coach in the country, arguably, because of the recruits he's able to get, and he is a good recruiter, and they say he's a quarterback guru. And he's able to get really good quarterbacks into his programs, and he's able to coach them up. But overall, as a head coach, he just has not had great success, at least as of yet. Can he prove the naysayers wrong in 2023 and actually get the Longhorns to the top of the Big 12? We shall see.
Number 11 on my list, Scott Satterfield. That's right, the coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now,
Satterfield is a little bit lower on threes list. The only reason I have him here is because he has been coaching longer than a lot of other guys in the conference. So I just don't feel right putting them below him, putting them ahead of him when they don't have a body of work to show for it. But Satterfield, nonetheless, has coached for 9 years as a head coach. 5 of those were at Appalachian State at the Group of 5 level. Then he was at Louisville for 4 years, coaching there in the ACC, before coming on to replace Luke Fickell this offseason, I should say, after Luke Fickell took the job at Wisconsin. Satterfield's overall record as a head coach is 72-40, with a .643 win percentage. So you might say, hey, Couz, he should be higher on your list. But most of that success was at Appalachian State. Once he got to the Power 5 level at Louisville, he has struggled a little bit. He only has 4 seasons of Power 5 experience at Louisville. His record is only 25-24, so only 1 game above 500. He finished his 4 seasons there with records of 8-5, 4-7, 6-7, and 7-5, respectively. Yet, somehow, Cincinnati thought that was a good enough track record to replace Luke Fickell, arguably one of the best head coaches in college football. This hire to me was one of the more surprising hires of this cycle, but obviously the AD at Cincinnati knows more than I do, so we will see if he proves me wrong. But I'm not convinced yet Scott Satterfield is the guy that will lead Cincinnati to compete in the Big 12. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but it's his lack of success at Louisville that has him so low on my list here.
Number 12 on my list, my guy, the coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers, Neal Brown. Now, I say my guy because he's the coach of my team.
Not a fan of what he's done there so far. Yes, on 3 actually had Neal Brown last on their list of Big 12 coaches. However, there are 2 coaches on that list who have only coached FBS level football for 1 year. And I just cannot bring myself to put those guys ahead of Neal Brown, who's been coaching FBS football now for 8, and has had at least some level of success. Okay. Brown's overall record as a head coach at the FBS level is 57-41, which is a .582 win percentage. But just like Satterfield, most of his success was at the Group of 5 level. Brown did great at Troy when he was there in the Sun Belt Conference, going 35-16 overall and putting together 3 10-plus win seasons back to back before being hired to replace Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia. Neal hasn't fared as well in Morgantown since taking over in 2019. His overall record at WVU is 22-25. 3 of his 4 seasons have been losing seasons, and the only winning season was the pandemic year in 2020 when we only played 10 games. So who's to say how many he would have won that year? He's never had West Virginia ranked in the top 25, and that is unusual for Mountaineer fans. No, we don't claim to be a blue blood program. At least I don't. But historically, West Virginia has spent more weeks in the top 25 than any other team in the new Big 12 Conference. So not being in the top 25 4 years in a row is just not acceptable to us Mountaineer fans, and we feel like we deserve better as a program and as a fan base. But Neal Brown does get at least 1 more year to fix it, because West Virginia did go out in the offseason, bring in a new athletic director in Ren Baker, who will come in and hopefully improve the fundraising, improve the NIL relationships there between the program and the NIL collectives, and will hopefully be able to get Neal Brown more that he needs to be successful. We'll see, because if Neal Brown does not have a successful season in 2023, more than likely it will be his last.
13 on this list. I know Red Raider fans are going to kill me, but it's Joey McGuire. Now look, I'm going to put an asterisk here. I do not think Joey McGuire is a bad coach.
But we really don't know how good he is yet, because he's only coached 1 season. He's only been a head coach for 1 season in his life. Now, yes, he coached some high school ball, but I'm talking about college ball here. Totally different ball game. He did finish 8-5 in that 1 year, which was last season in 2022. But I need to see him repeat that and win consistently before I'd move him up my list. And this is not a knock at all. Like I said on Joey McGuire, he seems to be doing a great job. He's recruiting really well. He has a top 25 recruiting class, I think, for the 2023 class. It's just simply a matter of only doing it for 1 season. He needs to string together some successful seasons, and then I'll move him ahead on my list more than likely. But right now, because he's only coached 1 season, I have Joey McGuire at number 13 on my list. So that leaves the one guy, that leaves
Brent Venables as number 14 on my list of the Big 12 football coaches going in the 2023 season.
Brent Venables, the coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, there again. This has nothing to do with what I think his ability will be as a head football coach. It's what he has done so far. It's a body of work issue, okay? And that one season for the Sooners in 2022 just so happened to be a losing season. It was the Sooners' first losing season in 2 decades. And not only did they have a losing season, they lost in embarrassing fashion. Got blown out, I think by like 48 points, 48-0, to their arch rival, the Texas Longhorns, in the Red River game. Now, I do think Brent Venables will be a successful head coach for the Sooners, but I'm not ready to rank him ahead of the other coaches with a larger body of work. To me, rankings should not be based on what may happen in the future. It should be based on what has already happened and what you have proven to date. So far, as a head coach, Brent Venables has not proven anything. I think he will. I think his time's coming, but we're not there yet. And I rank Joey McGuire ahead of him because Joey McGuire's 1 year, he was 8-5. Brent Venables was 6-7. So therefore, because he's only coached for 1 year and he had a losing record that year, and it was a program that normally doesn't have losing records in Oklahoma, I've got Brent Venables last, number 14 on my Big 12 coaches ranking. So Couz's Corner family, let me know in the comments what you think about this Big 12 coach rankings. Who would you have ranked differently? After all, this is just one man's opinion, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about, and I want to hear what you have to say. So let's get a dialogue going in the comments. Also, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know what you think about using the whiteboard. Maybe I'll come up with other ways to use it going forward. I apologize for the poor handwriting, but hey, that's what you get. Please share this out with your friends and family. Please subscribe to my channel here if you haven't yet. Also, if you want to get yourself some smooth, delicious coffee that's not bitter, go to BlueRidgeCoffeeCrafters.com. There's a link in my description box. Get yourself a bag of coffee. I have myself the caramel flavored coffee. It is absolutely wonderful. I have discovered my new favorite coffee, and I'm not just saying that because I'm advertising for them. I'm telling you the truth. I had a cup this morning. It is absolutely delicious. You open that bag, and man, that smell of that caramel and that coffee just hits you. Man, you just got to have a cup. Cannot wait to get that cup of coffee. So go check it out. And if you type Couz's, C-O-U-Z' or Couz's Corner in the comments, it'll let them know that you found out about it right here on my channel and will help me out. Also, you can check out my merch store. Get yourself a mug to drink that coffee in. Get yourself a shirt, a hoodie, a ball cap, a phone case, a mouse pad, a pillow, all kinds of different products over there. All kinds of different designs as well to choose from. Link is also in my description box. There's also a link to a Fanatic store where you can do your Fanatic shopping. You don't have to buy the product shown. You can hit the join button below to become a member of my channel. You can hit the heart with a $sign in it to give me a one-time donation. All of that will go right back into my channel here at Couz's Corner. I really appreciate you tuning into this episode, and until the next one, you country roads.